Hi, how are you? Welcome to my kitchen again. Today I have a whole bunch of vegetables for you. And we're going to have a vegetable festival. Fresh ones, fresh ones, fresh ones. When I was a little kid in Seattle, in about 1945, during the Second World War, our local supermarket had a vegetable stand about, maybe 6 feet long. And I remember as a child being fascinated by all these vegetables. It must have been 8 or 10 different ones. In our time, the things you and I can find in our time are just incredible. There's no excuse for eating prepared vegetables. You should eat fresh things and good things. There's a market nearby my home here. My place here in Chicago. It's a joint called Jerry's. Joint. Listen, you wander in there and you'll see what's happened to the American produce market. The changes between now and the Second World War are just incredible. Come with me for a few minutes to Jerry's Produce. I want you to see something that's just beautiful. Have you ever seen so many peppers in your life? Aren't these beautiful? He has yellow ones, red ones, and green ones. You can saute all three of these together at once in a casserole. Lots of garlic, a little olive oil, perhaps a smidgen of oregano. You have a marvelous thing. And please don't buy garlic that's come in a package, that's been put in a package. Terrible stuff. It loses all of its odor. Buy it in the bulk. It'll keep beautifully this way. Isn't this gorgeous? He has some interesting herbs, too, that we should play with. For instance, here's a caliantro or cilantro or Chinese parsley. It's really a lovely thing to play with in salads or even to saute. And some interesting parsley. For instance, here's a parsley that is called Italian over against our curly parsley. The normal curly parsley. Great difference. The flat leaf is very nice. Looks good in the salad. It's very decorative. And it has a much nicer flavor. I think it's milder. Very lovely. Isn't this place beautiful? And the Swiss chard. Look, he has two different colors. Here's a red Swiss chard as well as a white. If you saute the two of these together, you've got something really lovely. Colorful things. That's what we want in the kitchen. Dandelion greens. Good heavens. Next time you go to the market then, try and find something that's unusual in the way of fresh vegetables. I dare you to try baby eggplant. Aren't these gorgeous? Or how about a black radish? That's an interesting thing. No, I haven't eaten one. Or Chinese okra. Yes, I've cooked this. And finally, some Chinese string beans. Beautiful, long rascals. Delicious. I can't stand it any longer. Let's go back to the kitchen and begin cooking, huh? Isn't that place an absolute beauty? I just love it. That many vegetables and fruits in one place just absolutely excites me. I think it's gorgeous. Let me show you some ways of cooking those vegetables that you and I will normally find in the wintertime. Though in our time, I suppose we can find everything. But in the wintertime, generally you have to rely upon lots of good carrots, fresh carrots, a lot of root vegetables. And, of course, we have some frozen things we can fall back on if we can't get the fresh ones. But there's a lot of good things we can do, even with the old carrot. Instead of plain carrots, let's try something different. My frying pan is hot. I want to show you how to make carrots in beer and dill. Got that one? It'll crack your kids up, I promise you. So for carrots and dill, first of all, into our frying pan, we're going to put a tablespoon of butter. The pan is hot first. Remember that story? Please. About 4 carrots, cut into, that's measured carefully enough, cut into shoestring sort of thing, or not shoestring, what do we call it? We call it carrot stick, don't we? All right, we want to cook those for a bit with some dill. And I'm going to put in just a smidgen of dill, about a half teaspoon, I suppose, of dill weed. And you want to cook that with the carrot. We're going to cook the carrots now until they're brown, just barely brown, you see, with the lid on, shaking them every once in a while until they're finished. Now, got that? Now we'll pretend they're finished. They've browned a little bit. So at the end, that's about 15 minutes. At the end of 15 minutes, we want to add, excuse me, I didn't add the beer yet, did I? That's the part that's fun. You put in the dill and the beer along with the butter. Then you cook it 15 minutes. It's about a cup of beer. And this will cook down. Straight beer right out of the can. Don't worry about it. All right, I'm confusing you already. Carrots, butter, dill in the pan, toss it about, then add the beer, put the lid on, and cook the whole thing for about 15 minutes. At the end of the 15 minutes, then you remove the lid. See, now I've got it straight for you. And you want to put in a pinch of sugar. What is that? Maybe a half a teaspoon. You want this a little bit sweet for the kids and yourself, too. And a tiny bit of salt. And then you cook these for a few more minutes. And let me show you what you wind up with. Because this is not the product at all. That's not it at all. This pan is the one that we want to see. You see, they're almost caramelized. And they're so delicious. The dill and the beer, the maltiness of the beer, and the lovely flavor of the dill combine to make a very unusual vegetable. I just think that it's a very good idea. Let me dish these up for you. And our first dish today, carrots with beer and dill. That should turn on the kids. They always think there's something sinister, don't they, when you're cooking like this, but there's nothing sinister about good food. Can't possibly be. All right, the next one we're going to go on to is green beans with oregano, another very simple one. And in this case, I'm going to use a package of frozen green beans from the wintertime. It's perfectly all right. And this is a quick way to do a dish that, well, will help free you from the same thing you always do with green beans. Into a hot frying pan, we're going to put a bit of olive oil. That was about half a tablespoon. And I'm going to throw in one, if I can find them here, here we go, one package of Italian cut green beans. They're the wider bean, you see, big fat bean. And we'll saute these for a bit. Won't take long. There we go. I obviously had more in there than one package. You were sharp to notice. But that's all right. Okay, we'll get those cooking. The only thing we have to do now is to add a little bit of seasoning, and we want some oregano. Pinch of oregano, almost half a teaspoon, I think. And then we're going to cook these with a bit of garlic to give it that Italian smash, you see. And I'm just going to crush up a clove of garlic. Now they're beginning to simmer. You see, my pan wasn't terribly hot. That's a bad thing to teach you. Be sure your pan's hot first. You remember my saying that over and over again. Okay. Now we're doing it. In the pan I have the olive oil, garlic, dill, and an entire package of green beans cut Italian style. I'll put the lid on this, and we'll let these cook for a bit. Certainly won't take long. And then we'll go on to another dish. The possibilities today are just about endless, thank goodness. You know, in the old days, we used to eat vegetables in terms of seasons. That is to say, you had a certain season in which you saw a vegetable. But in our time, you can pick up just about everything you want all year round. It's really quite amazing when you come to think about it. Very amazing indeed. Now, the last thing we're going to do to that dish is to add a bit of lemon juice just before we serve it, rather than a lot of salt. You see what I'm doing? Garlic and salt and a little bit of a tiny bit of oil, lemon juice. All of these things will help you get rid of your taste for salt. Use garlic, lemon juice, and herbs instead. Cut out the salt, and it's better for your system that way. Besides, you'll then learn that restaurants, for instance, use much too much salt in their cooking. You don't need it. Okay, they're looking good. Now, on to the next one. This is a very strange dish, but I have in here, in this great kettle, let me get a frying pan going. I need a big one. We don't have a big one. There we go. Put a frying pan on. In this kettle, I have prepared 3 different vegetables. I'm going to do an Italian sauté for you. You'll notice zucchini, the little green ones, aren't you clever, and the cauliflower and the carrots. Now, why are they sitting here in water? Because I've blanched them or pre-cooked them barely, one by one. I cooked the carrots first, took them out of the water, threw them into cold water. Then I put in the cauliflower, took them out of the kettle and put them into cold water. And then I did the zucchini. So each vegetable is cooked to just its own point of fulfillment. You can't make this into a stew. And then you drain everything. This is the old Italian trick. And it's very common in Italian restaurants. I see a lot of this in San Francisco. You drain this after you see, let them sit in the water and stay cool and nice. When dinner time comes, everything's ready, and at the last minute, all you have to do is to drain your vegetables, which have been pre-cooked, so to speak, but they're not quite done. You don't want them to be all dry. And then into your frying pan, which is awfully hot here, you put a bit of oil and some garlic. Where's my garlic bowl? Here we are. This time I'm going to cut the garlic up. I don't want to have it crushed. There we go. We're just going to use the same old pan again. There's no reason to keep washing your pans out unless you're using weird flavors that you don't want to mix. And I'm not. A bit of olive oil into the garlic. Toast the garlic first while your vegetables drain. And then now, depending on how many people you have for dinner, because I don't know how much of this you would have made, but we're going to make a serving for about 3 or 4 people. And we'll simply put in a handful of vegetables now out of our draining pot and saute them in the garlic oil. And that's all there is to it. Very Italian. There's a place called the Columbus Cafe in San Francisco on the corner of Broadway and Grant. I'm sure I'm right. The Columbus Cafe. She makes the best calamari you could possibly imagine. Interesting woman. She makes sweet bread. Oh, and she always serves the same vegetable dish, and this is it. Now we're going to cook this for a bit. Don't let the flaming oil bother you. That happens on a gas stove when you have things good and hot. Cook this for a bit. Now we're going to add a little bit of beef stock. About 1/4 cup to our pan. And then we're going to add some grated Parmesan cheese just before we serve it. But I need to put a lid on this for a minute and get it good and hot. That'll take just a second. Lay down flat there, you rascal. There we go. That'll take a minute. Let's see how our beans are doing now. Ah, I think they're about done. Italian green beans with oregano. That was hardly complex. Now we need to put a bit of lemon juice in these. Just a tad. You won't need much. There we go. And the dish is complete. Did you get the recipe on that one? It's very simple. Green beans, olive oil, garlic, and it's the oregano that does it. You see? Then at the last, we simmer that for a bit, and then at the last minute we add a shot of lemon juice to brighten the flavor, to sharpen it up. So we'll put these down in the buffet for you. Boy, I don't know if I'm going to have room. Listen, gorgeous eggplant. Isn't that a gorgeous color? Eggplants are lovely things. Let's just move him over here. Okay. You can also, to your sautéed vegetables, add onion if you like. That's awfully good. Onion would be a great addition. See how they're doing, huh? That one's hot. They're looking fine. Just takes a minute, you see. Did you get that recipe? Blanch the vegetables ahead of time, with the exception of the onion. If you can throw onion in, throw that in at the last minute. As a matter of fact, you can just pan fry those and not worry about them. You don't want them to be blanched. You'll lose their flavor. We have blanched or pre-cooked very quickly and then dipped into cold water the 3 vegetables: carrots, zucchini, and of course this gorgeous cauliflower. And it's ready now for a bit of cheese. We pan fried those for a bit in olive oil and garlic. And then we put in a little bit of beef stock, put the lid on, and let the whole works heat up. It's hot now, and it's ready for dinner. So we'll put on a little cheese, toss it a bit. Let's not toss it too far, Jeffrey. Please. Toss it down the block, for heaven's sake. And we're ready to go. Let me put this out here for you. Did I lose one again? There. This is just delicious. You don't want vegetables that are run-of-the-mill. For heaven's sakes, serve them. The people you cook for, that's all you've got. Let's face it. Unless you don't like them, then I can't imagine what you're feeding them. I can't imagine it. All right, let's go on to another. Are you ready? We have 3 now, and we have some other good ones coming up. These are just great. Oh, I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't do this in front of you. I stole this dish from my wife, and I don't know where she got it. I think she took it out of Sunset Magazine. If you're not on the West Coast, you won't know what I'm talking about, but there's a magazine on the West Coast that has some of the best recipes I've ever seen. Subscribe to it. You can get it anywhere in the country. It's called Sunset, and it's just colossal. The best food section in any magazine I know of in the country, bar none. Excuse me, other publishers, but bar none. She stole this one out of their magazine years ago. She served it many times, and when I was going to do it on television, she was furious with me because then, of course, she wasn't going to be able to serve it at dinner again. It's so simple that it's absurd, and it's absolutely delicious. It is called spinach and artichoke casserole. Here's a casserole. I'm using a baking dish. You see, it's about, I don't know, what is that? That's about 8 inches wide by about 10 inches long. And I have a can, 1 whole can of artichoke hearts that I've cut in half and placed in the bottom of an oiled casserole. On the top of that, I'm going to place 3 whole packages of frozen spinach, chopped, that I've drained and squeezed, from which I have squeezed the water. You must do that. Otherwise, it'll be just a big wet mess, which you do not need. All right? Now, we're going to make the topping, and this is the clincher. In my mixer here, I'm going to place 1/2 pound of, there it is, of cream cheese. Get this thing together so we can begin blending this. And then we're going to whip this up so that it's with a little bit of mayonnaise, about 2 tablespoons. And we need a bit of milk. How much? I don't remember. Well, 6 tablespoons. What is 6 tablespoons, for heaven's sakes? There it is. 6 tablespoons of milk. There we go. We're going to add some pepper to that. Pour this over the top, and we'll have a marvelous dish. And that's the whole recipe, other than the cheese for the garnish on the top. In the dish now, you remember I have a can or a package. If you use frozen artichokes, then remember you have to cook them first. These have already been cooked, so I simply put them in the bottom of the casserole, put 3 packages of chopped spinach that I've drained over the top, and now I have a ½ pound of cream cheese, 1 package, an 8-ounce package, you see, a couple tablespoons of mayonnaise, 6 tablespoons of milk, and it's time now for the pepper. We'll just crank a little pepper in here. You always hear me say the same thing. Don't ever let someone else crack your pepper for you. For heaven's sakes. Don't do that. All right, whip that up. We'll spread that over the top now, and then the final touch is a bit of freshly grated Romano cheese, or perhaps Parmesan, whichever you prefer. I just love this kitchen machine. This is a KitchenAid. It's just a riot. It will do very near everything in your kitchen for you. Okay, here we go. Just smear this on the top. I know that it sounds bland, doesn't it? Frozen spinach, artichokes, cream cheese on the top. But wait till you taste it. Just want to smooth this all down. And we'll put on about 1/3 cup of freshly grated, preferably, of course, freshly grated Parmesan or Romano cheese. You do either one. I really don't care, and I'm not going to come to your house and check it up. I'm not going to check out on you at all. You'll just have to be trusted. This goes into a 375-degree oven, 40 minutes, something like that. And let me show you what you get. I just happen to have one. Yes, you're right. There. Pot holder time. Here it is. Are you ready for this one? There. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? It's very, well, let me show you. When you cut into this, you see, and find the right spoon, there we go. When you cut into this, you'll find a beautiful layer there of artichoke and spinach, and then this lovely cream filling on the top. It just makes a dinner party. You could serve them hamburgers along with this, for heaven's sakes, and they'd think it was really heaven. And that's right. That's what it should be. Okay, we have time for some more. Let's keep cooking. When I was in graduate school, my wife and I practically lived on this dish because it was fancy and inexpensive. It is a baked cauliflower. If you're a little kid and you just said yuck, you're in trouble. Give me a chance, will you? So you don't like cauliflower. This one you're going to like because it's very good and it's very easy and it has some class. All right? And if you are a youngster, please pay close attention now. You must parboil or boil ahead of time. Par means before, right? Parboil the vegetable before you cook it. That's going to help you get rid of the bitterness that you dislike in cauliflower. All right? Tell your mom. Tell your dad. Cook it yourself. Here's the cauliflower. Put it in a big pot of boiling water for about, boil it for about 10 or 15 minutes till it's barely tender when you poke it with a fork. All right? Now then, we're going to place this in a casserole. I have a little metal casserole, a little fat one here that will just hold it. Isn't that cute? And on the top of that, we're going to place some eggs. I want about 2 whipped eggs here. I thought we had a bowl of eggs somewhere in the front of me. I don't know what did I do with them. Well, don't see them. All right. I always have eggs handy anyhow. 1. Yes, it was the sink. That's all right, for heaven's sakes. Now, we're going to pour this. Oh, as soon as I whip it up. There. Now we're going to pour this very carefully, kind of smear it around. Use your fingers, I think would be best, huh? There. What we want to do is to coat this cauliflower with the egg. All right? There. And then we're going to put some cheese on the top of that. I'm using a lot of cheese today, aren't I? Pepper and cheese. Okay. Pepper first, because the cheese will cover up the pepper, the little black spots, you see, make it nice and white again on top. We want the cheese to brown. Now, you see what I'm talking about? But we don't want the black spots. You can use white pepper. You know, there is such a thing. It's good, but it's a little more expensive, and I really don't mind little pepper flakes in my food. Need a lid. Need a lid. Into a 375-degree oven for 15, maybe 20 minutes, until it's brown on the top. Okay. And here's one that I've already prepared for you. Let's see. We're going to have a car collision, a big crash here with the carrot stick, so we have room. Okay. There we are. And there's one cauliflower baked with egg. Isn't that gorgeous? With egg and a little cheese on top. That's a good one. It really is. All right, are you game for one more? I don't know if I'm going to have time to finish this or not, but it's so good that at least I want to start it and show it to you because it's weird. It's French beans with lettuce. Have you ever had fried lettuce? Works very, very well. In your casserole, we want to put an entire package of beans, but first we need some oil. Here we go. This is a sauteuse. It's a very deep-sided frying pan. This one holds about 3.5 quarts. But you see how heavy it is on the side? See? But you don't want to bother with this kind of thing. Then use a big black frying pan. It'll work just fine. Into that, we want to put a package of green beans cut julienne style. That's the long, skinny one, you see. Sometimes the package says French style. That's fine with me. Call it what you will. We'll saute those for a bit in about 1/2 cup of chicken broth. There we go. There we are. And while that's cooking, we'll put the lid on now and let that cook for a time. And while that's cooking, we're going to cut up a medium onion. What is a medium onion? It's smaller than a big one and bigger than a small one. Oh, I don't know what it is. Medium onion. That's probably enough. That's a large one. Let's use this half, huh? Put that into the pot. Just whack him up and let the onions and the beans saute for a time. This will not take long, but this will not be completely finished by the time you and I have to part today. But I do want you to see the ingredients because it's fun. Then we want to add a bit of sugar, just a smidgen, 1/4 teaspoon perhaps. Okay? And continue to let this cook. It'll probably take about 15 minutes before this is ready for the next step, which is a head of lettuce. Can you imagine? I'm going to core the lettuce. I think half a head will do us. At that point, we would add half a head of lettuce to the beans. Lettuce will cook down. Oh, yes, it'll cook down beautifully. Fried lettuce is terrific. Germans do that, too. And the Chinese, of course, have done it for a long time. Chinese will cook any kind of vegetable. You and I make nothing but salads with it, and they've tried lots of good things. Let's add the rest of the ingredients so you know what else goes in that, too. A bit of salt and pepper. There we go. And some pepper. And I still love dill with beans. So I want you to add a bit of dill weed and some thyme to make it taste very French, because the dish really is French. A little bit of dill. Basso. Just a pinch, a tiny bit of flavoring. That's less than 1/4 teaspoon. All right, there it is. Now we'll let that saute, and we're going to have to serve it as if we have completed it. Now, once the lettuce cooks down, you're going to find a puddle of broth. Well, it's already forming. You see, the little broth that we have in there will be expanded by the liquid from the lettuce. So you're going to want to thicken that with a roux. And a roux, I've prepared one here, is simply a little bit of butter and flour cooked together until it's not quite colored. You see, just melt it for a few minutes, and that will thicken this beautifully. You just stir it in while it's on the stove, and it will not have any lumps that way. There, already, you see, this dish isn't even half done. and already it's delicious. Remember, don't put your head over a kettle. Two things are going to happen. One, you're going to get hair in the food, blech, and two, you're going to burn yourself. So put your nose down by it and give it a smidgen that way, you see, and breathe it over to you, all right? And we'll add this one to our collection of vegetables, lettuce and beans. Marvelous things. That's what we're trying to celebrate today. Kind of non-seasonal things that you can enjoy all of the time. So I've cooked for you carrots and dill. And this dish is easy to do and very German. Then we have green beans with oregano, very Italian. Sautéed vegetables that we cooked ahead of time almost completely, but not quite. And then at the last minute, we threw them into a hot pan of garlic and olive oil and just a little bit of beef broth, remember, and then tossed them about. A baked casserole from my bride Patty of spinach and artichokes with a cheese topping, lettuce and beans with thyme and dill, and finally baked cauliflower from my old days at Drew in New Jersey. That's it. Eat the vegetables, and for heaven's sakes, enjoy yourself. That's the point. This is the Frugal Gourmet. Until I see you again, I bid you peace. Bye-bye.